So, good evening, everyone. We are really proud to be here with you in the Richard Kim Center this evening, and also to welcome Mike Africa and his family. Can you please welcome Mike? No, I mean really welcome him. That was for me. So Mike, we love you. We're appreciative of you showing up and being here with us. I am Reverend Mark Hughes. I'm the Executive Director of the Vermont Racial Justice Alliance.
Hi, I'm Christine Longmore Hughes. I'm the Director of the Richard Kim Center. I want to welcome you all, and again, just echo what Mark was saying. We're honored to host this event, and just looking forward to connecting with all of you. Please make yourself at home, look around, there's a lot to see. So thank you for being here.
And that's going to do it for us. I think it is important that you understand that the implementation of the center itself was actually born out of the work of racial justice, a statewide initiative from the Racial Justice Alliance, driven in data, and really focusing on outreach and education, policy, community engagement and support, as well as cultural empowerment. So probably one of the most important things I'd ask you to do right now is to place First African Landing Day on your calendar. It is the last Thursday of August. It is always the last Thursday of August. This is the 6th annual First African Landing Day, and it originated from the premise of the realities of 1619, and that commission, as well as the 1619 project and the work of the Hampton Museum in current-day Hampton, Virginia. So flag that. We know that our summer activities programming is starting on the 24th. So this is the second year that the Richard Kim Center has offered that up. There will be a number of other things on the calendar that I'll ask you to bring your attention to. Maybe later I might come back to you, or maybe towards the closing we may just do a brief intermission, and I'll let you know some of the other things that we do have ongoing in terms of programming. But again, welcome. Sit back, buckle up. This is one heck of a presentation that we have today. I believe there's going to be spoken word as well as music, and we've got a short video for you. It's probably just under 25 minutes or so. I'm going to call on a good friend of mine who is really close to my heart, and who I love dearly, who is also here with his wonderful daughter. Mr. Rajni Edens is here with his daughter Mina. If you can coax him up here, you can really just make him just yell and clap and scream and holler and say, woo! Rajni Edens.
Blessings to you. Peace community, how are you? It's an honor to be here with you. I wanted to open. It's an honor to share and plant a seed. Bless brother Mike Africa Jr. and his family and all their efforts. This is a piece in honor of our people for unity and liberation and victory. It's called Beautiful Sun-Kissed People. So when I say it, it's called in response. You repeat after me. Say, beautiful sun-kissed people.
Beautiful sun-kissed people.
Walking miracles, unfolding parables, ancient scrolls and ocean's throes. Love be a rose adorning your ears. This morning will not bring mourning nor a thorn in tears. This forever moment is showing up fears. Say, beautiful sun-kissed people.
Beautiful sun-kissed people.
We are on the cusp of overthrowing overseers, light years beyond heckles and jeers. No more tanning our hides while Dr. Jekyll steers. This love is sheer, transparent and near, as dear as your closest relatives here. Say, beautiful sun-kissed people.
Beautiful sun-kissed people.
No conversation on us being equal, just entertaining the thought is evil. We weave full, fully woven, lost and found, traded and stolen, but look what the eye beholding. Say, beautiful sun-kissed people.
Beautiful sun-kissed people.
Golden, black and free and ebony, mahogany and mocha bee, chocolate Haagen-Dazs can't see. Rivers running melanin. Monitoring, but Most High got it all intents and purposes in sovereign skin. Watch as this here poem ascends, journeying and frolicking. Summer breezes talking with the autumn wind, how winter just won't break our stride. Too much spring and stuff for us to hide. Our victory is justified. Say, beautiful sun-kissed people.
Beautiful sun-kissed people.
Solarized with older ties, our currency ain't tokenized. We close to those focused and wise, whose feet arise in open skies. We white supremacy eulogizing.
Come on.
Blessed ministry, New Horizon,
Well,
and desperate attempts at euphemizing our brilliance to futile lies still will never neutralize. Too many youth been euthanized. Fed sweet as prey to truth decay, but truthfully our rootful way has truth to say. Adorns the nights to loose today, in beauty that the stars obey. Say, beautiful sun-kissed people.
Beautiful sun-kissed people.
And I relate to you so musically, and oh, the joy it brings. Like, please stand and place your hand on your heart. Lift every voice and sing, till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun, let us march on till victory is won. Let earth and heaven ring in sacred oath, because after all we are betrothed to wondrous wonders of untold, great-grand good fortune that broke the mold. Can't buy us off with moldy bread. We've more than crumbs inside our heads, and crust just will not satisfy when banquets alone are ours divine. We walk in gourmet grandma made, deliciousness in every shade. Say, sun-kissed people.
Sun-kissed people.
Say, beautiful, blessed, bountiful, sun-kissed people.
Beautiful, blessed, bountiful, sun-kissed people.
All right. I praise the path that plants our flag, squarely in earth a self-made basket, a glorious newfound approach that predators cannot encroach, that parasites and wayward folks at a mere glimpse will cough and choke. See, this radiance is brighter still than every sun that lights a hill. It calls from something deep within and pours from vocal cords and pen. Say, beautiful sun-kissed people.
Beautiful sun-kissed people.
I'm nourished just to see you.
come on. Look over here.
You furnish my living room with life abundant, killing gloom. You water every plant I have and furnish my gardens green and vast. Sing lullabies to my inner child and soothe our fears of foul defile. You spray me with your sense of grace and lovingly embrace my face. Say, I am you and we are race that founded every human trace. Say, sun-kissed people.
Sun-kissed people.
I wake with your poems on my tongue. In my chest I hear your drum. From my lips I hear your hum. It gets me high and drunk as rum. On you I am forever spun. Your melanin I'll never shun. Your melanin I'll never shun.
Come on.
With you I am forever one. Has there been better? Never one. Say, sun-kissed people.
Sun-kissed people.
I bequeath these odes to you, your next of kin and children too, and their children's 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 view will yet still match your vibrant hue. Whose supernatural sorcery to walk in temples gorgeously, shaming cathedrals far and near, make a white Christ pale in the mirror. Sun-kissed children, you are it. Don't let nobody tell you, shh, unless they fertilize in soil. To grow a rose regal and royal, to don a rose upon a rose, of red and black and green and gold, so poetically bestowed, it dignifies your inner throne. Sun-kissed children, marvelous, miraculous magnificence, Outlandishly so unabashed, unapologetic sass, ultramagnetic blackness, the right goddess on your epitaph. That's blasphemy, surely, right? Because we know true gods never die. Sun-kissed children, you kiss my eyes with all that sunshine you applying. I say I'm in love for true, because you are me and I am you. From head to toe and all between, I love these princes, kings, and queens. I even find you in my dreams. And when I wake, I vow to breathe, and breathe the vow. With every vowel and consonant I can pronounce. Announce the cosmos all your feats. Build castles for your sweet retreats. Blue feathered pillows, black satin sheets. A sacred lounge to rest your crown from all them wounds been crying out. Sun-kissed people have no doubt. You're all I am, what I'm about. Can't tell my story without your page. Every chapter be erased. You sold my line so seamlessly. We vibe on higher frequency. So let's not love in secrecy. My sun-kissed people, we be's the key.
Thank you, Rajni, and thank you for also being that man who can just walk in the door without necessarily being on the agenda. Somebody just looked to you and you're ready, always ready. So thank you for being in the house with us today. We do have a video for you now. It's about 25 minutes. Again, if you want something to drink or something like that, or oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. We got something else for you before this video. Something. I told you we're going to have some music. So let's get that queued up. And as soon as I figure out what I'm going to say, I'll be right back. I'm going to cue that up, okay? Right on the fly. So I'm going to introduce you to some of you, and also just remind some of you others of Yanni Indigo, who's going to come in and perform one major track here. I'm going to get it queued up for you, and I'll be right with you, okay? Take this microphone from me.
Greetings. So while he's getting it queued up, I just, want to thank you all for coming. Hey, Rob. Excited and happy to see you all. And, I think that this is like a really special day, and this is like part of like the kickoff. It's not really a kickoff, it's like part of the kickoff because it's really early in this national tour of runs. And, when Mike comes up, he'll be able to speak to you all more about like really what this is about. But what I would like to just say is, there's a lot of conversation that's going on right now about, amongst many things, reparations. And there's a lot of like hesitancy that some people have about the idea of reparations and whether or not they need to be a contributor to repair. And, reparations is something that we do for the collective. We are all one anyway. So, there's an imbalance that's been created through violence, in this world, in so many communities. And reparations is about us really rebalancing the world so that we all live better and we all can live without fear of retribution even, right? Without fear of more violence, like the violence that's been, exacted against us. And this serves to me as a very unique opportunity to touch something that happened during many of our lifetime here in our own community, right? Our community, like, you're not in Philadelphia, but we're so close, right? We're so close, and this act of extreme violence against people who were simply they were ahead of their time. What everyone's doing now is what they were doing, standing up against injustice, standing up for the planet, composting, taking care of animals, stopping people from abusing animals. That's what they were punished for. That's what they were targeted for. And that's why people were murdered and incarcerated. And we can be the source, the force to transform that a little bit, to be able to touch some transformation around. We see there's so many injustices we can't touch. This is one where we can actually put something on the transformation around this and be an actual tangible part of repair. And that's something that's historic. And so thank you all for being here, for being a part of this historic moment. I'm gonna do a song called Philly Work, because we are Philly Jones, all right? I don't want to knock this TV over, but let me move over here. All right, I'm ready. That's all right, we can all raise our fists. Because we are all here because we stand for justice, because we love what is right. We want to stand and be aligned with the righteousness. I am a revolutionary. It seems like that's not the right track, but that's all right, we're going to go with it. It shouldn't have all these words in it, but that's all right. These words are important words. These are the names of individuals who have been murdered by police in different parts of this country. Free them all. What the fuck them motherfuckers do in your city? They be putting in work, then they lit. Like in Philly, they be on that fuck 12, then they lit. Like in Philly, are they ready to tear it down? Then they lit. Like in Philly. Tell me what them motherfuckers do in your city. Do they fill the bellies up? Then they lit. Like in Philly, are they riders for the squatters? Then they lit. Like in Philly, they go savage on that swine. Then they lit. Like in Philly, light it up. Hey, light it up. Hey, light it up. Light it up. See them walls of Jericho? Make them rubble all around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, fuck 12. 9, 10, 11, fuck 12. Fuck 12. It's time to aim at these niggas if they won't stop killing us and keep pulling triggers. Give us all our political prisoners. ACAB. Time to say fuck 12. That's why we say fuck 12. Fuck 12. We can't bow down to these fools, filling up their cages out of our schools, keeping niggas hungry, food just out of reach. They say we illegal. We don't care, you mad, we taking these streets. Nigga, you ain't free till everybody free. Time to pick a side, cause shit is getting real. Raise your fist with me, see how good that shit feel. Light it up. Light it up. Light it up. Light it up. What the fuck them motherfuckers do in your city? They be putting in work, then they lit. Like in Philly, they be on that fuck 12, then they lit. Like in Philly, are they running down the walls, then they lit. Like in Philly, tell me what them motherfuckers do in your city. Do they fill the bellies up, then they lit. Like in Philly, are they riders for the squatters, then they lit. Like in Philly, they be shitting on them pigs, then they lit. Like in Philly, light it up. Hey, light it up. Hey, light it up. free Imam Jamil, free Kamal, free Leonard, free Veranza free all of our political prisoners. We need to uphold our community. We need to bring everyone together as one community, and we can't do that if we align with the system. That's why we say fuck 12. Free them all. Light it up.
Last night because we have a lot of cake to make.
That's why people in the old days were so much stronger. They had to do this stuff and it was, they get muscles just from being a baker. Lock your fingers.
It just sounds.
It's scary. I never put you get caught in there, that's it. No more talking.
No. Look, Robert, like this, Robert. No. This is blasting. See, this is what's happening to these new people. They want to do everything fast. Everything.
We ain't got time to do it slow.
You're right. Yeah. So look at that.
My mom, she wants to do everything. So as they say, live your best life. That family time is so important to her. And it's been very beneficial and eye-opening. Having parents for the first time at 40 years old is kind of, it feels a little backwards, right? But it's like, it's a new experience that's very interesting, very unique. Feels really good.
45 minutes. All right, that's what you want.
Hey, Dad, tell us about that sweet potato pie y'all made.
Wasn't a success.
What was wrong with it? What was wrong with it?
Why you say it like that?
Well, actually, I didn't mind it, but everybody else did.
They are getting married. They've been together for a long time, 46 years. And 40 of those years have been in separation.
You want to swing butter all over?
I mean, just the fact that they're home and that prison thing is over. It's really, really, really good. They don't let this sound really good. Welcome aboard, everyone. You're about to get the tour of your lifetime. My name is Mike Africa Jr. I am a member of the MOVE organization. We're going to talk about the injustices in the city, and we're going to talk about the resistance to that injustice. Police arrested 9 of our family members. And of those 9, 2 are my mother and my father. And I was born in prison. So we're about to go down this street here. I don't come down here much, so. This is Osage Avenue. This is the site where the people that lived in this house, which was other Move people, they were campaigning to get the other Move people out of prison. On May 13th, 1985, the city of Philadelphia came to our house yet again. They flew a helicopter over our house and dropped a bomb on our house. The bomb ignited a fire. The fire burned down this house. Inside of the house was 13 people. Of the 13 people, 11 of them died. 5 of the 11 were children. We were too young to know what happened, to understand it. It took me 20 years to really get a grasp on understanding what happened. And then another 10 to accept it. My name is Mike Africa Jr.
Hey, what's up? You remember us?
I do. Yeah.
We've been here since like
I remember.
82.
I remember.
What's up?
I'm all right, man. How you doing?
We still here.
Still here.
We still here.
So what's up with all of this?
They sold it, the city sold it to these developers
The city sold the whole block
in Pine Street.
and Pine Street.
Yeah, for $1 of property. I went downtown and checked it. They gave me each one of these joints for $1.
An American tragedy.
Yeah.
Stay strong, bro.
We here.
Good to
We
see
ain't
you,
going
man.
nowhere.
Hey, man.
All right.
All right. Oh, that's a look at this perfect tomato.
That's a cute one.
See, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna see how cute it is when I'm chewing it up. That is the piece of perfection, and that will burn your taste buds off if you're not careful.
Yes, for sure.
Because you know these will last well beyond October. There's a tomato in here for somebody. Huh? Nah. You good with no hands, nigga? I was raised by my grandmother. I was raised by the community of the organization. 'Cause everything that I needed, I did have. But those questions began to develop. Child separation from their parents is very deep. But it's been really good. I mean, there's no real bad adjustments. It's just, figuring out this thing and we're just moving with it with each other, growing into it with each other.
Michael Sr. and I moved out of Mike and Robin's place about, it's been about, maybe about a month, a little shy of a month.
You ready? You're ready to go down to Mike's now.
It hasn't really been an adjustment. What I wasn't used to was prison. I know what freedom felt like. I was born free. The adjustment was somebody trying to feed you slop or talking to you like you were a subhuman or having you work for pennies a day. Those were the adjustments.
When I was arrested and was sent to prison, we had rotary phones. We had a phone hanging on the wall. But when I came out, there were cell phones, smartphones, mobile phones. I did have to make a big adjustment there, and still, I got the basics down of what I needed for, but that was a big challenge because it was just so unfamiliar. Even now, when I get on the phone, I'm calling somebody, I'm expecting to talk to a person, not hear a recording.
Coming home to hugs is something I left and something I returned to, so that was seamless.
How you doing? You look like
Now you just
one of
started
the
having
characters
show.
on Fat Albert.
I know, lean to the side.
What's his name? The one on Fat Albert. With the one with the hat.
This is a mini Donnie Hathaway. Oh yeah, that's right. There you go. Let him go, man. Yeah.
What you mean? Your time
You want rice?
Rice?
White rice?
Nah.
You want coconut soup?
He just wants to say the hash. No, you got a rating like he rate you. When what happened to
This is the best sandwich since Vance. That's your alter ego,
Let
right?
it all out.
In prison, we've had demonstrations and hunger strikes, and we don't subject ourselves to people who we know has proven to be untrustworthy and particularly vicious towards us. There is no getting around the toxic environment that they put you in, the stressful environment they put you in. So it's always been some kind of warfare, and don't think that just because we went to prison that it ended. You know, the assaults continue.
Oh yeah?
Debbie and I, yeah, we stayed in touch by writing letters, and we communicated through our children.
I never did that.
Debbie and I had been knowing each other since 14. And, you know, together committedly since 16, 17. And for me, you know, she's always been my girl. You know, she's always been my girl. For several reasons, you know, we wanted, you know, something official. We started talking about dates. When would be the best time? You know, for me, the best time was the day before. When I said yesterday, we want to take care of this today. You know, so.
Okay. This is Muncie State Prison. This is one of the first visits to see my dad. It's myself right here. It's my sister. That's my cousin, David. That's my aunt, Lorraine. This is a picture of me and my mom at Cambridge Springs. This picture was taken in November 1994. 40 years of your life. They miss their children growing up. They miss all of the things that I'm doing with my kids. They missed so much. You know, this is an amazing journey to go from that and knowing that they've been in prison all those years unjustly, and then get involved in working on helping to get them out.
From the MOVE organization. Now I want to point out, I got 9 MOVE people sitting in prison right now doing 30 to 100 years for a crime they ain't committed, including my mother and my father. We got serious work to do. Yeah! On the move! What's happening, bro?
How you doing?
I brought these signatures.
I got something on email that I need to print out.
Oh, wow. Okay. Have you counted them? How many do you think we have?
I think it's over 300 and over 25 different countries.
This is great.
Yep. So as you can see, this envelope didn't hold up.
Yeah.
And then these are some of the handwritten ones. So
These are great too when there's
I know
show that it's specialized.
Right.
From around the state of Pennsylvania, and then looking at this, countries around the world, states all around the country, New York, Florida, Seattle, California, Burma, the Philippines.
It's deep.
Yeah, yeah. So that's great. This is great. You know, I mean, I think that it's important to be able to show that there's wide support for the Move 9. So these are some of the packets that we did. A copy of each one sent to each and every board member. Yeah, these were the original ones we did. We submitted these in April of 2018. And then they went before the parole board in May. And then your mom got out in June. And so we have this thick for your mom. And your dad's was even thicker because he had so many letters. He had all of his certificates. I mean, these are just a ton of stuff. It's all the letters we had submitted for your
I remember
dad.
wanting to get those letters for him.
Great work by you, man. This has been true collaboration.
Oh, for sure. Oh, that's the best part of it. It's like, and that's why it's so important to work together.
Mm-hmm.
What I don't see, you might see, and vice versa.
Yeah.
And just help each other.
And you're able to do things I'm not able to do. You know things I don't know. I'm able to do things you're not able to do. It's good.
Right.
It's good,
good teamwork. Teamwork makes the dream work, right? There we go.
You know, when I was in law school is when I was really starting to correspond with some of the Move 9, right? And developing personal relationships, pen pal relationships. And then so I'm sitting in the back of class writing letters, half paying attention, half taking notes. And, you know, but I would start just trying to do a little bit of legal research and being like, what exactly is this? And reading the opinions, right? Reading court cases describing what happened with the case in 1978 and realizing how mind-blowing it was. In the court opinion, it says there's no evidence that any of the women even held a gun, let alone fired a gun at anybody. There's no evidence that any of the 9 people actually shot this person. It really solidifying what I already knew, which was that so much of this legal system's a farce. You know, it's just this house of cards that's set up to prop up white supremacy.
Now where we going? Inside?
Just walk right in. Do they need to do it again?
Let my people go.
Let my people go.
Set my people free.
Set my people free.
I'm letting my people know.
I'm letting my people
I
know.
love you like you were.
I love you like you know.
Start the first conversation. And welcome to the stage, Birdie and Mike.
So what you can do is what you can do in your lifetime. Feeling that you feel for working for, or working to either against an injustice or working to right a wrong is a good feeling. You know, it's a very satisfying feeling.
We have had this expansive definition of revolution and most of us accept that it's a process. What does that work in actual process look from y'all's perspective?
Well, the first person you're going to have to challenge is the person you look in the mirror. You got to make sure that you're as respectful of that information and feeling as you expect others to be. And if you're not, that's work you have to do. You know, that's work that you have to challenge others to do. Just because a person seems to be in opposition to the information and the example you set does not mean that you're not affecting them. You know, if you want to see Sandra Bland Tamira Rice and Ayanna Jones, you know, just on and on and on. You know, you have to fight, and you have to fight with those who are already fighting, who's been fighting. You know, and if you don't care, then we coming for your too.
I'm headed to the church to unload tables, get ready for the wedding tomorrow. My parents' big day. 45 years in the making. They finally get a chance to get the celebratory union that they worked so hard to maintain over the last 45 years. 46 years, my apologies. I hope the church is standing room only. I want as many people as that building can hold to show my parents the love that they deserve to feel after working so hard, and it's like a wedding freestyle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Freestyle. It's kind of different for me, I think, probably for most people. It's a little weird too, like kind of, because it's like, I'm the son. You know what I mean? I'm the son. So it's kind of, things are kind of in reverse. Just spending the time and the work, putting in the work to make this happen, all of that is very joyful, it's very healing, it's very uplifting and encouraging and inspiring. And you know, it's a good example of never give up, you know. All those things are worked into how I feel and my emotions. I feel great. I woke up this morning and I floated out of here. Lift. Take the box, Raymond. Go, take the box. Hold on, you gotta spin it.
Oh, yeah. I love you. I love you. I love you today. We've been waiting for this day. We don't have enough space for all the people that want to show their love. I am filled to overflowing because I am a child of Philadelphia. And for many of us who have been friends, family members, supporters, we've been waiting to stand in solidarity and to let Michael and Debbie know that we love them. Though small in size, these rings are very large in significance. They're made of precious metal, and they remind us that love is not cheap and it's not common. I want you just to turn around and look out there at all these people. You all have been apart from each other for 40 years, but your love stayed strong. And now, turn back around to me so we can formalize this. Who gives this woman to be married to this man? Say it real loud so everybody knows. I, therefore, by the power that has been vested in me, by the state of Pennsylvania, and most of all by God, I pronounce that they are husband and wife. And keep you.
If anything is worth doing right. If anything that's worth fighting for, you fight for it until you achieve it. It doesn't matter how long it takes. If it's worth it, never give up.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Africa.
Is this on? Okay. Hi, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
Hi, I am Sister Sankofa. I am a reparations activist, equity strategist, and advocate for the people of the community. I live in Montpelier, and when I first heard about this initiative to help Mike Africa Jr., I'm like, wow, this is really special. And I've only been in the reparations movement for about 3 years, and just connecting with people such as Reverend Mark Hughes and his wife, and then Yane and Russell Schultz III, and then Dahe, who are part of the Wheelock Mountain Farm initiative. It's just given my heart such joy to be doing this work. And Mike Africa Jr. and I are going to have a conversation, and I'm hoping that it will enlighten everyone why reparations is so significant and important. And thanks for being here. So that was a really powerful film, and just want to ask you, how long did it take you to, first of all, get your parents out of prison, and then,
My bad, go ahead.
And then to make this film?
Well, let me first say thank you to everybody that came out today. I really appreciate seeing these faces in the audience right now. And thank you. And thank you to all the hard work for the people that worked to put this together and reached out to the community to bring these people here today. And then, of course, all of the technicians that work to make sure this thing goes smoothly so that people can see this. So thank y'all, first of all. So to answer your question, how long did it take to get my parents out of prison? My parents were arrested on August 8, 1978. And my mother was nearly 8 months pregnant with me at the time. And so people started working to free my parents and the other members as soon as they were arrested. And after I was born in the jail cell, and after I spent 13 years in Philly with my grandmother and living through the crack epidemic and all of this stuff, I started actually working to free my parents at the ripe old age of 13. And we were successful at the riper age of 40. And the documentary, Karen Mafandikwa is the filmmaker. She's working on a film about the Whalers, Bob Marley and the Whalers. She's working on a documentary right now about the Whalers. But she partnered with Henry Abadab, I'm gonna say his name wrong, Adabanoje.
Nice.
I think. But they worked together, and it took about 3 years for that film to be, from the time it started, greenlit to Al Jazeera putting it on the network a couple of months ago.
Wonderful. So with this initiative, what was the enlightenment that you had to say, look, I want to just go around the U.S. and have 13 races for the victims and really try to purchase my childhood home back?
Right.
And why would you go back instead of going forward?
That's a really good question. So you saw on the film where the city of Philadelphia dropped the bomb, and they burned the house down and took our house. That house was owned by my great aunt, Louise James. And her brother was murdered in that house, and her son was murdered in that house. And actually, the run that we're doing tomorrow is for her son, Frank James Africa. And today is his birthday. He would be 66 years old today if he'd still be alive.
Wow.
And so when my Aunt Louise, after the city took the house, as you can see they on the film, they talked about, the brother said that the city sold the houses for $1. When I had that conversation with him, I then did my own research and I reached out to the city and told them that I have $1, I'll give you $1 for the house. And they refused to sell it to me because my last name is Africa. But I talked to my aunt about it, and I asked her, why did she even want the house back? So much tragedy, so much destruction, so much harm and trauma attached to that address. Simple question, why do you want it back? Her simple answer was, because it's mine. It's my house. She said it doesn't belong in the city's family, it belongs in my family. She said, I worked with my husband to buy that house. We paid that house off, and it's ours, and we want it back. So, I didn't think that we would ever get a chance to get it back, because once the city sold it for that $1, the developer then he refurbished it, and gentrification swept through Philadelphia like it's doing around the country, and then he sold it for $300,000 to a private citizen. That private citizen had no idea what he bought. And so he got so many unsolicited visits, cameras in his face. He said, I don't even use the front door of this house because every time I open it, there's a camera in my face. He said, I'm ready to get out of it, but I can't give it away because I paid X amount of dollars for it. So he asked me if I wanted to buy it back. And in memory of my aunt, I said yes. So we worked to come up with the down payment, but $360,000, I don't know what the housing market is like up here, but in Philly, $360,000 is a lot of money. So that brought up the question of reparations. And reparations is a hot topic right now in the country. But I know, and just like everybody else who's paying attention knows, reparations has never come for Black people if we didn't do something to force the issue. And even still, it hasn't come for Black people. So, we always have to rely on ourselves and each other. So I reached out to people to help to raise these funds. The idea for the 13 runs came up because the bomb was dropped on May 13th. There were 13 people in the house, and Birdie Africa, who was the child survivor, was 13 years old. And so, in a half marathon is 13 miles. And one of the things that myself and the other children always did together is run. So we decided to make it a run challenge and to invite the community to run with us in memory of each one of the people that were bombed, and in an effort to raise the funds that we need to pay the house off. Because at the end of this whole thing, we want to have a mortgage burning party. I've never done that before. I don't know what it feels like, but I can expect that it'll feel good. We want to have a mortgage burning party and invite everybody to help and show support to help us get that thing down to 0.
Amazing. So, how much have you raised so far?
So far, now let me full disclaimer, I am not a fundraiser person.
Yeah.
I don't like asking people for money. I have a little house in Philly, near Philly, that I bought from working as I started a landscaping company. And my motto, growing up and move, has always been do for self. If you need help, you can ask for help. But pretty much, I don't knock on doors and ask people for jobs. Like, I always try to make a way for myself. And so the idea of asking people for money doesn't feel right. So we probably could have raised more if I wasn't stuck in that mindset. To date, I think we raised about $15,000.
That's awesome.
It is?
Well, I know you got a long way to go.
We got a long way to go,
Yeah.
especially given that let me pour my heart out a little bit. May 13, 2025 is 40 years, it will be 40 years since the bombing. I remember that bombing like it was yesterday. And every day I think about the kids that were in that house. I knew every one of them. I would have been in that house if not for my grandmother. That house was, the reason why there were so many people in that house, so many children in that house, is because that was like the Move orphanage. All of the children's parents, all of the children that lived in that house, their parents were in prison. And my parents were in prison too. And I was with them. We were in the orphanage together. We were in a state orphanage 2 years before that, where we were taken into custody and abused for 11 days. I went through all these things, and we went through these things together. But my grandmother saw a confrontation brewing, and she got me out of there. But the other children, their parents and grandparents tried to do the same things to some degree, but the other Move people that were in prison, they didn't know a bomb was going to be dropped on the house, and they wanted their kids with Move organization. That's a kind of roundabout way to get to where I'm going. Point I'm trying to make is this 2025 May 13th anniversary, the commemoration that we want to do, we want to get this house paid off by then, and we want to honor Birdie Africa. Birdie was the 13-year-old boy that survived, and the last run that we do, the last of the 13 runs, is on that day for him. And we want to have instead of burning up our house, we want to burn up this mortgage payment.
So where is Birdie now?
Sadly, tragically, and unfortunately, Birdie Africa has joined the ancestors. The ancestors. He was 41 years old, and he died in a freak accident on a cruise in 2013. And Birdie was like one of the leaders of the kids, because he was one of the oldest, and his mother was like my surrogate mother, because when my mother was in prison, he was the only one whose mother was home with him. And she took care of me while my mother was gone. Tragically, she passed away in the fire too. But anyway, yeah, so Birdie, 2013, died on the cruise, drowned in a hot tub. It was a whole thing. But the last run that we do is in his honor. And we're going to run from the cemetery that he's buried at to the cemetery that the other Move children are buried at, to honor all of them together.
And they're in Philadelphia?
They're all in the Philadelphia area.
Okay. So what about your siblings? Are they supporting this effort?
No. No.
Can I ask why?
You can. Yeah. I got a lot of haters.
No, let's talk about
I got a lot of haters. Everybody don't love Move. Everybody don't love revolution. They feel like sometimes they feel like you're a troublemaker.
No.
Or you're making noise when everything's cool. Believe it or not, there's a lot of people that believe that we live in the best country in the world. Even though a bomb can be dropped and children can be burned and shot to death. They believe that. So, no, I have 3 sisters. 2 of them support me with their heart. And they love me to death. I've got one who wish I was No, she grew up in Move just like I grew up in Move. And she has such a bad taste in her mouth because of our experiences. And listen, you see the joy that I have on this film. I can't stop giggling. I'm giddy. I'm happy. My parents just came home after 40 years. How can you be sad about that? I mean, yeah, they lost 40 years, but now they're home. Okay, what am I supposed to say about that? Oh, well, it should have been 40 years at home. Yeah, it should have been, but it wasn't. But what we have, I have a motto that I constructed in my life. I say happiness is a choice.
That's right. That's right.
You have a people can place your body in different places by force. They can make you, they can hurt you, they can not feed you, they can put you in prison, they can kill you. But you know what? You determine how you feel. And throughout all of these different things that I experienced in my life, the one thing that I've always been clear about is that I control my level of happiness. And that's not a superficial thing either. You know, I think that we have the potential to build the foundation for the happiness that we want. And once we built and constructed these blocks, these bricks, this foundation, you protect it at all costs. Mentally, I protect my happiness. I am appreciative that my parents came home. My sister is a little different. She looks at things like that glass half empty, and I don't. And I think sometimes our personalities clash because she thinks that I should feel more the way she feels, and she takes it like I don't understand. No, I do understand. That's why I built this foundation so that I can protect myself from what she's experiencing right now. So I don't have a whole lot of support from my specific siblings. But you know what? I got a whole lot of support from the community, the activism community. I'm right here in Vermont. I've never been in Vermont before, but I'm here right now.
Yeah, all right.
You know what I'm saying? I got Yane Indigo back there. Schultz the third. That's my brother from, I met him in 1995. And we've been rolling ever since. And we don't see each other every day, but we know we there every day. You know what I mean? Look, I met you on a Zoom call, and now here we are right now having this beautiful conversation. The community. So, you know, I also feel like this. When it comes to family, I think that people are like maple trees. You know those things that come down and they spin and then they drift off and they fly away? And sometimes birds take them somewhere, and sometimes squirrels take them different places. The wind carry them off. They're not going to all grow up under the maple tree that they fell under. They get scattered in different directions, in different places. Some of them don't make it. That's just how family is. But it doesn't mean that there's love lost. I love my sister. We just don't see the same things the same way. She might end up planted in some forest in Vermont, and I might stay in Philly. You know what I mean? But what I'm clear about is that we have deep roots. We have deep roots that are strong and sturdy, and that we intend to, you know, continue to build upon that strength and allow us to get this work done.
So, can you tell us what does MOVE exactly stand for, and how active are you and any other family members with the MOVE organization?
The MOVE is not an acronym. MOVE means what it says, movement, right? We exercise, we eat healthy. The foods that we eat, it takes movement to for nature to generate that food, right? All life moves. And if you don't move, if you're stuck, if you're in bondage, that's when you die. So that's how MOVE got the name MOVE. MOVE has always been very active ever since the 70s. The prison activity, the Rizzo administration really stifled a lot of the movement that MOVE, the progress that MOVE could have made, just like a lot of other organizations. The system is a monster. Yes. There's a lot of work that could have, progress that we would have made if not for the interference of white supremacists and COINTELPRO and this government in the way J. Edgar Hoover and Frank Rizzo's and people like that interfered with us. But that doesn't mean that we stop just because we've been interfered with. and MOVE is no different. So, you know, I'm here right now. I am the legacy director of the MOVE organization. The organization is under construction right now because just like my sister is not happy with the way her life turned out, a lot of other MOVE members are not happy with the way their life turned out. And instead of recognizing that there's a system that created these problems, they blame MOVE. They blame the conditions in which they were brought up because they didn't feel like, they felt like we were different. And they felt like the difference is what caused the problem. You can explain to them Sandra Bland wasn't a MOVE member. You can explain to them that Tamir Rice wasn't a MOVE member, wasn't even an activist. He wasn't even an adult. You can explain to them that, you know, the Branch Davidians in Waco, Texas, Randy Weaver was a white supremacist, and they attacked him on his own mountain, killed his wife and his kid, right? You can explain to them that these are not MOVE people, that there is a government that is a menace to all of us. But because whatever they got in their minds, the same way that I built this fort with a moat with alligators all around it and a sniper ready to pick you off if you invade my happiness, they built that same thing on the other side, which is, in my opinion, negativity toward MOVE and the stand that John Africa took. And they had that same structure around themselves in protest of MOVE. So MOVE is under construction right now. And as the legacy director, it's hard work. It's hard work to try to continue the legacy. It's hard work to try to get people to understand the intention behind MOVE. It's hard work to fight through some of these issues that people have. But I understand that even though it's hard work, it's worth it. It's worth it. If it ain't hard, it ain't working. If it ain't hard, it ain't working. You ever do push-ups? You ever exercise? If it ain't hard, the harder it is, the more you're getting out of it. That's how I see it. I'm getting grit. They making me strong. It's hard work, but it's worth it.
So during the Obama administration, did you, I'm gonna assume, but I don't want to assume, that you reached out to the Obama administration to really help with your parents' release and with, you know, reparations for what happened. And if you did reach out to the Obama administration, what was the response? And if it was a negative response, do you feel like they were part of the problem?
You know, that's a good question. This film illustrates my work to free the people. But what this film doesn't show is the 38 years before, when other people were in charge. One of the reasons that I'm in this position that I am in now as the legacy director is because the other people who were in charge, they were not getting the job done. So as much as I want, and I'm not, let me full disclaimer, I'm not an Obama supporter. I'm not an Obama hater either. I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm not a Trump hater either. I don't deal with politics that way. But what I will say is we've had many politicians that's been very supportive of the organization. But there's been the leadership of MOVE at that time, they were not involved in trying to get politicians of that caliber to get involved in MOVE's case. At that time, they would not even hire a lawyer to fight for the MOVE 9's release. So the answer to that question is we didn't request support from Obama officially. Now, that being said, I'm not sure if he would have given us support. I'm not sure. What I can say is the local politicians were the ones that we got support from the most. The Jamie Gaultier, Councilwoman Jamie Gauthier is who we got support from in terms of the Move 9's release. We got support from lawyers like Michael Cord. We got support from officials of that caliber. We actually got support from the district attorney, Larry Krasner, who in many cases, district attorneys with 99.9% certainty fight to keep people in prison. But this progressive district attorney, as he terms himself, he wrote support letters to the parole board to free my parents. The packages that you see me delivering to the attorney, some of the letters that I reached out to different politicians and different community activists, and I went all over the only continent that I didn't go to or get some signatures from was Antarctica. And that's only because they didn't have flights going there at the time.
It's hard out there.
It's cold out there is what it is. I ain't got no business in that place, so I didn't go there. But everywhere else, every continent, we got support letters from. And within those packages, we got support letters from District Attorney Larry Krasner.
So that support is pretty much just letters, not really funding for your cause. Is that correct?
Again, I'm not good at fundraising. I haven't reached out to any of them for financial support.
Yeah.
That's a good idea, though.
It is.
It's a good idea.
Have you reached out to Oprah?
Who? Who did you say?
I said Oprah.
Oprah who?
Yeah.
Oprah who?
But do you have?
We're going to make a list. We're going to make a list of all these people you named so that we can make this, so that we can make the official ask. I don't know how to raise funds.
Yeah.
Listen, back in the day, we used to go and we used to hawk newspapers. Move had a newspaper called The First Day, and it was $1 per paper. And I used to sell. I'm a people person, so I'm interactive in that way. I could, hey, you want to support the Move organization with $1? It's real simple. A lot of times they wouldn't take the paper; they just give me $1 just to get me away from it because it's just $1. They only, you know what I'm saying? They may or may not support Move, but $1 is $1. So they just here, young brother, here you go. But when it comes to, higher levels of money, some funding, I've never been involved in it. But I'm happy to make a list and try to get some of these people to support because we're going to have a mortgage burning party.
Yes.
And in order to have this mortgage burning party, we got to have a zero balance on the mortgage. You can't just be burning up pages that say you still owe $300,000. That don't make sense.
Well, we want to definitely help you to do that, and I'll be happy to, brainstorm with you. But, this is a lot for you to because you created this whole campaign by yourself. And then in each place that you go, I'm assuming that you link up with community activists to help you further that cause. But, after you leave here and you go to the next place and the next place, do you have celebrity endorsements back in Philadelphia who are, able to stand up with you, stand behind you and help get the word out?
Yeah, these are really good ideas. Let's make a list. Mortgage burning party. Mortgage burning party. Let's make a list.
So tell us about your stay here in Vermont and why you haven't really considered staying here or bringing your parents here. Because we need more people of color to be here. Yeah.
This is what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, Russ, second on that one, huh? Listen.
My dad here. My dad should be living where it's son. Mike Africa Senior should be living where it's son. Russell Schultz III.
Yes. Yes, I'm gonna call. Listen.
I don't know who those people is, but Mike Africa Senior should live with his son, Russell Schultz III.
Russ, listen.
I don't know why he living with Mike Africa Jr. He should be living with Russell Schultz III, his son. that came to visit him in prison, all that things.
Yes. All right, we're gonna make that happen. Well, I don't know about living. Definitely living. I need to be out in Philly, bro.
We can share him up there. Come and visit, bro. You had him long enough.
Listen, Russ is my big bro. Oh man.
Get up.
We've been through it. We've been together rolling for. Yo, bro, we getting old, man. Like, I'm thinking about the years.
30.
Ooh, that's why my back hurt.
So let me ask you, what has your experience been like here in Vermont?
I love Vermont. Why? Because of the granite mountainside and the trees. I mean, the people are cool too, mostly. And listen, so this is the first time I've been here. And it's interesting that, so I wrote a book. It comes out August 6th. It's called On the Move. And in the book, I tell the story about how I decided that I was going to marry my wife. And the way I decided it was because she was at a farm visiting, and she somehow found a phone on the farm. I don't even think they had a phone at the time, but she found a phone and she called me. It don't take a lot for a man to be like, yo, man, this is the one. So she called me from the phone, and she was like, I'm like, what you? Anyway, this is the first visit that we have come back to this place since she called me back in 1997. 1997. I told you we getting old. Anyway, one of my very, very good friends, one of my very best movement sisters is here now. You saw her perform, Yane Indigo. And Yane was like, you know, I got something real special up here. When you get here, I want you to see it. So anyway, the point I'm making is there are a lot of ties that I have to Vermont, but this is my first time ever being here. So it feels really good and really special. So why? These are the reasons. These are my best reasons. I don't know if they're good enough, but these are my reasons. 27 years together, to that woman, 4 children. We have three sons and our little 12-year-old daughter.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And I believe, and I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, in my book, they asked me, they said, man, what's the takeaway for your book? And the takeaway for my book, in my book is, love doesn't conquer everything, doesn't conquer all, but it certainly conquers a lot. A lot. And the work that we did came from a deep sense of love that worked to help get my parents home, that worked to get the other Move 9 members home, and that kept me and Robin together for 27 years.
So the other 9, the Move 9, are they supportive?
The Move 9 went to prison in 1978. When they went to prison, maybe one of them was 30. The rest of them were 20. Chuck was 18, 20. My mom was 21. My dad was 22. They were young people. And they had all kind of feuds and issues with each other. Wouldn't you know, when they came home from prison, it's like the feuds never stopped. They came home, I said, y'all act like high schoolers. He said, she said. Some of them get along with each other and some of them don't. And I try to stay out of it, but they don't get along. That's their stuff, and I don't want any parts of it. That's just the way it is. So no, they see each other. You know, my mom spent 40 years in the jail with Janet and Janine, 20 with Merle, but Merle passed away in prison. But the other two, they spent all of their time together. But when they came home, I don't know, whatever they had with each other from back in 1970 something lingered on, and it is what it is. You see my I got that fortress of mine, and if whatever they got going on impedes on my personal happiness and salvation, I can't have it around me. I love them to death, and they know it. I've taken care of them since they've been in prison, since I've known about them, since I was a 13-year-old kid. I've taken them food, I've visited them, I've taken some of their children who were estranged because of their family relatives and brought them up to the prison to see them when they were able to. I've been there for them. But they just, they have their own thing going on, and I give them the space to have it, whatever it is. After the bombing, the city of Philadelphia, there's this thing in America called qualified immunity. And if you're an official, a police officer, you can be qualified for immunity from any punishment served for any crime that you commit, or any harm that you commit, or any wrongdoing. And the police officer, Frank Powell, who was the one who dropped the bomb, the mayor who was part of the process of the bomb being constructed and dropped, his name was Wilson Goode. He was a black man, Philadelphia's first black mayor. The Philadelphia police commissioner, Gregor Sambor, who put shrapnel in the C4 to make sure that it did as much damage. The fire chief who ordered the firefighters to let the fire burn. All of those people were granted immunity by a judge who said he understands that their behavior wasn't its best, but he's going to grant them immunity because they were expected to perform under strenuous conditions, blah, blah, blah. So no, none of the officials were ever in any way punished. In 1995, Ramona filed a civil suit against the city of Philadelphia and Wilson Goode and the fire chief and the police commissioner. And a jury of their peers found them guilty. And their punishment was not a $500,000 or a $5 million settlement. It wasn't a $20 million. I don't know how much Randy Weaver got. I don't know how much the Waco, Texas survivors got. I don't know how much the lady who was at McDonald's at that time and spilled hot coffee on herself, I don't know how many millions she got. But I know that Ramona was awarded $1 a week for 11 years. That's what the decision was, that they would have to pay her $1 a week. And since it had been 11 years since the bombing, they would have to pay that $1 a week for 11 years. And I don't know what the math exactly adds up to be, but I think it's something like $500. And the judge used the immunity even for that. So no one was ever punished except for Ramona, who survived the bombing. She was given a sentence in prison for 7 years, and she served every day of it.
So, what are some of the lessons that you've learned from your father, some takeaways that gave you hope while he was imprisoned? And, what would you say how we can have those takeaways today?
I'm in the process of constructing something quaint so that I can explain that thing. Right now it's a work in progress, but it's called Stealthy, Healthy, Wealthy. It's not fine-tuned yet. But Stealthy, Healthy, Wealthy, this is what it is so far. We'll probably look back at this video and I'll laugh at it. But stealthy is, you ever see the lions and the cheetahs and the panthers, the way they move when they're hunting? And they move that same way when they're in defense mode too. They have to be stealth, right? They have to be alert. They have to be accurate. So I call it stealthy. And that is attributed to how I am about my wife. The answer to any problem in our marriage is, I'm probably wrong. And I have to be stealthy about that. I have to observe it. I have to be accurate about it. And guess what? The same could be said about her for herself. We have to take accountability for ourselves. I believe that a strong union in a household can be a very powerful unit in the community. For good examples, for yourself, it's really nice to have a loved one. It's really nice to have that support at home. And so for me, that's one thing. My dad loves my mom. I asked my dad, I said, Dad, you've been home for just a couple months. If there's anything that you want, I'll make it happen. I don't care what it is. I don't have a lot of money, but if there's anything you say you want, I'll make it happen. What do you want? He said, Mike, I only want one thing. I said, what's that? He said, I want to marry your mom. He said, I want to marry your mom like I should have done 40 years ago. And that's what you see on that film. And so one of the big lessons that I learned from him is love for his wife. So I say to myself, man, if I love my wife half as much as he loves my mom, we'll be doing pretty good. The other part is health. My dad is an avid runner. He's conscious about his fitness and his health and his diet. And that has given him a level of mental freedom that allows him clarity and confidence. And so I carry that with me as well. And then, of course, the other part is wealth. The wealth is important because it comes from a place of what I call do for self. I believe that if we can control our own economic circumstance, we'll have a lot more power within our communities. We don't control our economic circumstance. That's why we're always, when politicians say we're going to fight for better jobs, people are ready to vote for them because they're not controlling their own economic circumstance. They're looking to an external force to give them a job, to give them minimum wage. I don't know what minimum wage is here. I don't even know what it is in Pennsylvania, but I know it's not a living wage. I just bought a bag of popcorn and it was $7. I said, how much tax? They said, no tax. I said, ain't that great? No tax. You charge me $7 for a bag of popcorn. It shouldn't be. I'd rather pay the tax and just pay the normal price for a few kernels of popcorn. $7 for a bag of popcorn? But we don't, our economic circumstance is so bad. You know, and my father taught me do for self. You know, so we own our own businesses. I started a landscaping business in 2006. And 2 years ago, I gave it to my kids. When my parents came home from prison, my oldest son, he innately understood the importance of us, my parents and I, bonding. So he, without any coercion, without any prodding, he just took over. And he didn't refuse me to go to work with him, but he basically said, you don't have to. So I wanted to thank him for that time that he allowed me to have with my parents. So I gave him the business. I didn't even take 20% off the top like Mark Cuban would have. I thought about it. I wish I did by now. I need to control my own economic circumstances. I need that 20%. But I gave him the business. And, you know, now him and his brothers and his sister, if she ever decides to get involved and get her hands dirty with some real dirt, we'll see. But I think we need to, so those are the things that I learned. You know, stealthy, healthy, wealthy. That's what it is right there. It might not stick, but that's where I'm at. Control your economic circumstances is a really important part of it.
Well, I want to thank you all for attending and thank Mike Africa Jr. here. So tomorrow you're going to be doing 13K.
No,
or 13
mile.
Okay. And
difference.
We're going to be meeting at the Christ Episcopal Church downtown Montpelier at what time?
Well, the starting line is 7 o'clock. So we're going to be there around 6:30 to get warmed up, stretched out, and we're inviting people to come and run with us. If you're a runner, and you don't have to run 13 miles. If you can run, we're doing 4 loops, 8-miler, we're doing an 8-miler, 2-milers, and a 1-miler. And the most important thing is we're crossing the finish line together. So if you want to run a mile with us, 3 miles with us, or 5 miles with us, or 8, or 13, come on out and run with us. If you just want to, so we got 2 squads. This is the fun part. We got 2 squads. We got a run squad and we got a cheer squad. Some people don't want to run. They just want to come and hold a sign and say, hey, go Mike, go, hey, y'all, get it. And just cheer us on, you know, have some water to I don't know what the weather is. In Philly, it's like 100,000 degrees. It's hot down there. So, like, you know, some people might just pass out water as we're running, but that's what the cheer squad does. So if you want to be a part of the cheer squad, come on out. If you want to run, we'd love to have you running with us.
Well, thank you again, and I'll be part of the cheer squad. Any other questions?
Yes. Yes. Let's get some questions out here. Mike, again, thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate you. We really appreciate you.
Thank you.
I know people are already beginning to reach for their wallets as well, so I know you're going to probably tell some folks how they might be able to contribute. I know you don't know how to raise no money, but I'm getting ready to show you right now, okay? Because right now some folks are beginning to reach for their wallets. Some people they're pulling up their applications. They don't know at this point that there's swag back there on the table, that you're going to be, that you're here, you've got some shirts and books, and there's other ways that they can contribute. I'm sure you're going to tell them how they can do that. As we're doing so, I want to remind folks that there's food over on the table. Don't make me waste my money, okay? So there's food over there, lots of samosas. Please go and get some. And if you don't mind, Mike, if you don't mind sticking around, Sister Sankofa, if y'all don't mind sticking around just for a little bit longer, maybe what we can do is just open up for some questions for you. Would you mind taking a couple of questions?
I'm happy to answer questions right now.
All right. So as folks are moving around looking for your wallets and also looking for food, there's a question right here.
Hi, thanks a lot. This has been really fascinating. And I just wonder, I don't know if I missed it because I got here a little late. I want to know what MOVE, is MOVE still a social movement? I understand you do legacy work on MOVE, and I love the project of, recovering the house. But is MOVE still a social movement? Is it engaged with the community, and what kind of stuff does MOVE do?
Thank you for that question. Yeah, so I'm the legacy director, right? And so the last project that we did was we created an art exhibit, a historic exhibit of MOVE's history. And there's a place in Philadelphia called the Paul Robeson Museum. And we did a pop-up exhibit so that people can learn the history of MOVE. As far as MOVE as an organization, doesn't exist the way it did in 1970s and 80s and 90s. There are still members of the organization that are still doing some work, but the construct that it was, in the way it was created by John Africa, doesn't exist that same exact way. But we still protest at institutions that we feel are oppressive to life, to animals, to the prisons. We still fight for political prisoners. We still fight for the abuse of, in the 70s, MOVE would protest against unsafe boarding homes for the elderly. And they protested the Barnum and Bailey Ringling Brothers Circus and things like that. And so MOVE is still the MOVE members that still exist today are still mentally very supportive of those movements. But the structure in which it existed in the 70s and 80s and 90s doesn't exist anymore.
Robin Lloyd?
Good. Glad to hear about all of this. But so when you obtain that house that you used to live in, how are you going to use it? Will it just be your personal dwelling, or will it be a center of some sort? And does the zoning permit that? And Okay, I'm confused about one question when you talk about burning up the mortgage. Well, you don't own it yet. How can you even have, you don't have a mortgage yet, right? Am I crazy? Positivity.
No.
Power manifestation.
It's manifestation.
He's already there.
No. So when the person, I don't know, I need to clarify. So when the person who bought the house, when the city was selling it for $1, when he bought it from the developer, when he asked me that I want to buy it, I said yes. And so we got together enough money to put a down payment on it. But we still, the mortgage is on it now is $330-something thousand remaining. No, our mortgage. Yeah, we've got enough money together to put a down payment on it.
He purchased the house, he has a mortgage.
Yes. And so now we owe $330-something thousand on it now. So our goal is to raise the rest of the money and then have a mortgage burning party. Now to answer the first question you asked, what are we going to do with it? There's a stipulation on the property now. Because the house was taken through eminent domain and a MOVE member bought it, the stipulation says that we can't do anything with it that is MOVE related.
Oh boy.
Until we pay the house off, it has to remain a residential property according to the rules of the zone and the eminent domain law. Once the mortgage is paid off, we can do what we want. We can change the zone. You can change. In Philly they have, the zones are zoning rights and laws and everything. You can change them depending on what you want to do. So, for instance, the Paul Robeson house that I mentioned earlier, that used to be a house that Paul Robeson lived in. It was just a house. But because he lived in it, they got the zone changed to make it a historic site. There's a historical marker right in front of it, and people can go to visit it as a museum. And it's no longer a residential property on the first and second floor, but the third floor is still zoned residential. So someone actually rents the third floor. So we can do the same thing. We already have a historical marker place a block away. And we already have, they're aware that we're trying to make it a museum. But until we pay the house off, we can't do that.
So I got one, and there's we're gonna take a couple more if anybody has any other questions. One of the things that I was thinking about as you were speaking, first of all, I appreciate you. I appreciate you so much, especially when you was talking about your siblings.
Oh yeah.
And man,
family can be crazy, man.
And just black people in general, just how we do, how we operate.
What they say.
Kinfolk is kinfolks, and house Negroes and field Negroes, and it's just all kind of so.
All kinfolk ain't kinfolk.
Lied on, cheated, talked about. So I really appreciate that. It made me feel like we were kinfolk.
There you go.
But one of the things that I was also thinking about, because we can hold. How many people believe we can hold more than one thing at the same time? We can do that, right?
You mean walk and chew gum?
Hey, walk and chew gum. Right? But one of the things I was thinking about is as we do this work, because I'm with you on this work, and we're gonna. My commitment is I'm gonna do everything I can do to continue to keep the ball rolling back here with the folk that you already have on the ground here to get the work done. Because I'm not showing up trying to start something new or joining the fight that's already being fought and trying to make some stuff up. So, but here's what I'm thinking though is my hope is that along the ways, Mike, that what we're also doing is we're teaching folks just about the persistency and the insidiousness of what it is that your family experienced. When we talk about how many massacres have happened across the United States, and this doesn't take anything away from the severity, the criticality, and just the pain that has been caused to you and your family personally. But at the same time, we can also hold the fact that for those of us who come in here thinking that this is an anomaly, we got to shatter that. We got to break that down. And I'm just wondering if you could just speak to that Or maybe you can go over the dozens and dozens of massacres that have happened, Rosewood and Black Wall Street and Wilmington, and the list goes on and on and on, where black people have been annihilated throughout all history. This is not an anomaly. And I think we need to make sure that as we're teaching our young activists, that they also understand just how crazy this government really is. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Sure.
Thank you.
First of all, we were brought here to this country in chains. When I talked about the qualified immunity, qualified immunity was created by judges. And the reason they created it is because the court system was bogged down with so many cases of police misconduct that in order to free up the court system and purge the logjam, they created a law so that police and officials can't be prosecuted the same way as a regular civilian. And my question about that is, isn't that tragic? That they would create a law to interfere with the complaints from the people that are experiencing this harm, instead of stopping the people from committing the harm. So, and then to think about where we are now in 2024, I don't know how many videos we've seen of George Floyd's, of Tamir Rice. We've seen these videos. These are not, I've never seen a video of Tulsa, Oklahoma. I've never seen Black Wall Street get bombed. I've never seen those videos. I've heard people talk about it. I've read articles about it, but I've never seen it. I didn't see the slave ships. I've heard about it. I've read about it. I've seen depictions of it. I've seen Roots. My grandmother wouldn't let me watch it, but I had a 5th grade teacher named Miss Washington who made us watch it. What I'm trying to say is, but we've seen that kneeling on the neck by a police officer, and he got years in prison for that, but only because they burned down the police station. Only because the city, the state, the country, and the world was on fire. Right. But you know what a regular civilian would have gotten in prison? They wouldn't have went to prison. If a civilian was kneeling on the neck of a police officer and other police officers were standing there, he wouldn't have gotten any time in jail because he would have been shot. Right. And every news anchor, every report, every other police officer would have said he was justified. He was right for doing it. But when it comes to Black people, when it comes to poor people, when it comes to non-officials, we don't stand a chance against the system and having that same respect, getting that same respect. Qualified immunity was created to protect criminals and their criminal behavior. And so, you know, for us, we're trying to even the playing field, but we're also trying to say, hey, we don't have to support the people that do these things to us. And that's another part of the do for self that my father taught me. And that's why it's important to control your own economic circumstance. You don't have to support these people. I don't vote for any of them. I don't vote for none of them. I can't trust them.
Yeah, we have a question. Jill Stein.
Jill Stein?
For president.
For president? Oh, Green Party?
Yeah.
I gotta look up Jill Stein.
Yes. I'll get some signatures for it.
Okay. Speak.
I was just curious, this is kind of like to add on to the previous question, but I was wondering what MOVE's relationship is with other movements, particularly like queer liberation, indigenous, and especially the Palestinian movement, Palestinian liberation movement.
Man, we've been standing shoulder to shoulder with every movement that's fighting the system since we've been in existence. I'm talking about. So, BLA, Black Panther Party, Indigenous, United Freedom Front. Look,
But you
it don't.
tell them what these things are. Like, what is BLM?
But my point is, every movement that's ever come across to fight against the injustice in the system, we don't discriminate. You fight against it? Oh, Palestine? Yo, all of that, well, just bring back the hostages. Man, it drives me crazy listening to these people who are so ignorant to think that that's the only issue that's happening. That's the only reason why this stuff makes sense.
Right.
Is because of the, never mind the bombing before and the killing before. Forget about all of that. Just bring back the hostages. People are so narrow-minded and ignorant. And they are so easily led astray. It is astounding that they think that this is the greatest country in the world with that type of thinking. Oh man, I could go on and on, but
you got one over here.
So just quick, Mike. I noticed that you guys didn't touch on the reparations that are owed to the Move family, specifically from the University of Penn, and them taking the bones of the children and using the bones of the children for study in Penn's science departments and health departments, but also the importance of how people don't understand or see that the state all the way down to universities actually value what Move has done to the point of wanting to study their bones, their brains, the children, and how they were moving, developed, so forth and so on. That is so important to me for people to understand that the University of Penn, which is an Ivy League situation, and Princeton wanted to study these remains. Could you please speak on that and how important that is?
Yes. Thank you for bringing that up. On May 13th, 2021, the anniversary of the bombing, I got a call from Philadelphia Mayor Jim Kenney, and he told me that more remains have been discovered. Maya Casuto, who was a University of Pennsylvania student turned journalist, she called me and she said that she heard that some of the remains of the Move bombing victims were stored at Penn and being used as research material. I asked her how had she any proof, and she sent me a video that Penn professor Janet Monge made of her holding, smelling, touching, handling, sharing, passing back and forth the remains, the bones of one of the kids, the 14-year-old girl, Tree, that was bombed, shot, and burned to death. And then upon further investigation, we learned that she also transported, she and her predecessor, Alan Mann, transported the remains of not only Tree, but also Delisha and potentially Netta, three of the kids, three girls, from Penn to Princeton, where they had a Coursera course called Losing Personhood, Adventures in Anthropology, the Study of Real Bones. And they taught this course to over 5,000 students. And when Penn,
The majority white. Like, they're not people of color, sorry.
No, go ahead, I'm sorry.
when Penn was confronted about it, they said they were going to bring in an independent investigation team to do some fact finding and try to find a solution to the problem they created. And in the final analysis, the team that they hired came back with, I think, 11 demands of Penn, none of which had anything to do with any kind of compensation or reparations for the Move family. They were things like support educational programs for the West Philadelphia community and provide some type of monument on Penn campus to say what had happened. None of which are things that they talk to Move people or the mother or father of these kids to get their approval on. And when I confronted the Penn Museum president, Chris Woods, he said, we're trying to work something out, and we think a good starting point is $10,000.
Can I just quickly, was there any purchase price? Did they purchase? Get in there. I'm sorry. Was there a purchase anywhere? Did they spend some money somewhere with someone, or am I on?
I know Princeton said that they taught that course to 5,000 students.
Where did they acquire the bones? Like, did they acquire the bones from the morgue or somewhere, or something like that? I'm not sure.
They stole them.
Thank you.
They got the bone. So there were. This is really gruesome. But there were some issues around determining okay. When the people were bombed, the forensic experts, the medical examiners, they're supposed to preserve the scene of the crime. They're supposed to visit an undisturbed scene. And they're supposed to come in with their little brushes and sweep off the ashes of the charred remains. And they're supposed to carefully position them into body bags and gurneys and back to the medical examiner's office for reviews and investigations. But before they were able to do that, the Philadelphia Police Department had already started to demolish the remaining building structures, and they were falling on top of people. And so a claw crane picked up the debris and put it in dumpsters. And so many of the remains were lost, some were mixed with others. And so there was a discrepancy. Whose remains does this femur belong to? And so for further review, Alan Mann and Janet Monge were called in to identify some of the body parts. They argued with some of the other medical experts, but when the whole thing was, they couldn't conclude, they couldn't decide. There was no real solid conclusion from Janet Monge and Alan Mann. The other medical examiners unanimously said, it's this person. Alan Mann and Janet Monge said, we don't believe that. So they kept them. They said they were going to do further research. And 1 year led to 2 years, and 2 years led to 20 years, and 20 years led to 30 years. And during that time, they paraded these bones out into fundraiser parties and said, look what we got. And they put them in the trunk of their car and drove them up to Princeton and said, look what we got. Janet Monge is the same person that has done some extremely horrible things that is just ghoulish. There is an abortion clinic in Philadelphia where an illegal abortion clinic where fetuses were not disposed of properly was shut down by the Philadelphia Police Department. Janet Monge was called in to be an expert as a medical examiner and as a forensic anthropologist, or whatever her title is. And as part of her investigation and gift, the police officer said, hey, Janet, we got something for you. So they gave her some of the fetuses. And she kept them and put them on a display case in her office. This is the same person that stole the remains of Tree, Delisha, and Netta. And instead of being arrested, that is a crime. That is an abuse of a corpse. You go to jail for something like that. And then fundraiser, I can't imagine what would happen to me. I'm trying to raise funds to get our house back. I can't imagine if I used anyone's body parts and drove them around in the trunk of my car and took them around to my neighborhood. Hey, bro, check this out. Look at this bone I got. I can't imagine what would happen to me if I did something like that. But I know for sure one thing is I would not be free. But Janet Monge has served no punishment up to this point.
Okay. So I'm going to ask Yone to come up, and she's going to talk about some of the next stages.
So, I mean, as we talked about, one of the important things around this event is the fundraising. So, you know, Mike has his family, including, you know, supporting his parents, you know, which is a thing when you're, you know, you come out, you've been incarcerated for 4 years. And now on top of whatever, all other normal kind of life responsibilities, the additional burden of this mortgage. And so the goal is that we can collectively come together to remove that burden as well as allow for the next phase of what can happen now that this property is back into the hands of his family. Our goal that we had set for coming here and for each of these events is to raise $5,000. And I personally want us to raise $10,000 here in Lord. And I think that one approach that I thought of, so if people are able to make contributions while we're here, that's great. That's a great place for us to start. And I would like to make room and space for us to do that, and also for us to work together beyond this moment right now. And so, my thinking is that we could figure out an amount that we could seek to personally raise through our, in our personal communities and our personal relationships that would be then contributed to the Vermont portion of this fundraising amount. So like if people felt like you could work with people together in your community to raise say $500 or $200 or something like that, that we could have an idea, you could think about that, and then we could put together a list, and not like to hold you accountable, not like, oh, if you say, I want to try to raise $500 and then you're only able to raise $50, that there's going to be like a thing, but instead that we can just kind of have like a sense of what we think we can accomplish together, and then be able to support each other in doing that. I thought that might be a way that we could still work to accomplish the goal that we set for this. Mike is traveling all around the country, so he and his family drove today. They drove this morning all the way up here to come here, and part of that is to speak with you all. Part of that is to honor Frank. Part of that is for you all to be able to know the names and some things about the people that were killed in that house. Rhonda and John Africa and Little Phil Africa and Tree and Annetta and Alicia, to know who they are, Teresa. And so that's able to happen, and also we want to remove that burden, that financial burden. And so I want to know, what do y'all think? Do you think that that we could try to see if amongst us we could maybe have like an effort towards $5,000 that we can gain, like work towards together, maybe by like in the next month, that we could try to raise that together? And can we take names? Can I take down names? And again, it's not for like hold you accountable. You said you was going to raise this much. It's not from that place, but from a place of, we've got people who are working on this much, and we can still try to see if we can find more people that can fill this gap. We can just have a sense of where we are. So if you write down your name and maybe what you think you could try to raise within your own personal community, it just helps us know what we may be aiming for, what's possible. So I'm gonna try to get a notepad and pen, and ask you all to come and write that information down with me, and also invite you to go back and check out the swag that Mike brought. He's got some t-shirts, right? What's back here?
T-shirts and books.
T-shirts and books. And is pre-ordering possible again?
So, okay. Yes, you can pre-order my book on my website, www.mikeafricajr.com. That book comes out August the 6th, and it's up for pre-order right now.
All right, so you can do that pre-order, but this is a different book, 50 Years on the Move.
50 Years on the Move is a synopsis of the MOVE organization. The book that you can pre-order is my life experience from the inception of the MOVE organization to my birth to my work to free the MOVE 9 and beyond.
Okay, and then the t-shirts, which is the Welcome to Philadelphia t-shirt, which is a long-term t-shirt of the MOVE organization that depicts the helicopter dropping the bomb package on the roof of the house in 1985. So, so we can do those things, but I just want to, again, like, really appreciate, I want to appreciate you all for coming here, for knowing that this is important, knowing that this is special, and coming here for this moment. And I want to appreciate the people who helped organize it. Some of the people who helped organize it weren't even able to come, but they worked on it, like Clarence, Dahe, right back here, who's leading the run. You know, Ebony, Mike, you know, Sister Sankofa has been just amazing. Want to also thank the Richard Kemp Center.
Richard Kemp Center.
For just, you know, welcoming us here. It was like just very easy. Like, we want to do this, and they were like, we want you to do it here. You know, it was that very easy. So I want to thank that, and thank you, Mike. You know, I thank you for the inspiration. I thank you for the perseverance, and the perseverance that I speak to is not just like the perseverance of like doing the work to bring home his family, or the perseverance of continuing to do that work once his parents, because the first two that came home were his parents, but he continued to work to bring home the 5 other people who were still alive. Regardless, who cares if you're getting along or whatever, but I'm still bringing you home, right? And for that work. But also, like what he was talking about, is relates to the perseverance around, like, for happiness and joy, and to be able to model that, to be able to have gone through the things that you have gone through, and to still be a loving, caring, joyful person, and to be able to represent and give you permission. Like, in a world where there's so much that's so hard and so tragic, that you also don't feel like I can feel like I don't have permission to be happy. And he is able to stand there and model that in the face of all these things, we still have the right to actually experience happiness and to share and exchange happiness. And I really appreciate that, you know, and the perseverance of like telling this story, you know, and being willing to go back through that. It's different for me to be saying it than it is for him. And he does it, you know, because it's so important to remember and honor the people. And, you know, and he pushes through whatever is necessary in order to be able to accomplish that. And I observe that, and I watch that, and I witness that, and I appreciate you, and I do love him. This is my brother. So we're gonna do that. But please, y'all, just give some more love to my brother Mike. Like, come on, y'all. They've been dropping since this morning. Coming here, their first time in Vermont, or not Robin's first time, but Mike's first time. Oh, are y'all down to do a group photo?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, so let's do a group photo, and then after that, I'm gonna go over there to where the notebook is, and y'all could come through and just write your name and what you wanna, you know, try to work on raising, and make sure you still check out the grub and check out the swag. All right, let's do the picture.